Okay, so more word problems with your modeling today. So the town's population has been growing linearly. What does linearly mean? Yeah, it's making the shape of a line. And in 2004, the population was 6,200. The town's population grows by 380 people per year. So different from what we did on Friday. We're not given 2 points. Right away on this one, we're given the slope and the y-intercept. So we have an equation. Y equals mx plus b. What's our m and what's our b here? Thank you for raising your hand, guys. Yes, Aiden?
And this is our slope and b is our y-intercept.
Okay, and what part of this problem would be our m and what part would be our b? Jimmy? It's okay. So I know we're just looking at it. This is the first time we've seen it. So slope, remember, is rise over run. And so what's happening in that slope is it's going to have 2 pieces of information. It's going to have like, it's going to increase or it's going to decrease. And so which one of these 2 has 2 pieces of information? The 6,200 or the 380? The 380 is going to be your slope because that's what it's growing, 380 per year. Does that make sense? So you have y equals 380x. That's your slope. And then what's your y-intercept? 6,200. So the y-intercept is what it starts out with. So what does the slope mean? So when I ask you what the slope means, I want you to tell me whether it's an increase or a decrease. Because slope is talking about rate of change. And in rate of change, we talk about an increase or a decrease. So is it an increase or is it a decrease here? Increase of? Increase of 380 people per year. Does that make sense? So, and what does the y-intercept represent? So we have a y-intercept, we know it's 6,200. So it's the population. So let's briefly look at, so say if we graphed a line, here's the y-intercept, right? Where it crosses the y-axis. So what is that x value there on the y-intercept? Always, like with the x value always be?
0.
0, very good. So our x value is always 0. So when we're interpreting that slope, that x value is a 0. So our x value here is talking about what? What is that x value talking about? So I like you talking about at the start, so it's the population at the very beginning or at 0 years or initially. So we want to say the population starts at 6,200 what? People. Does that make sense? Okay, so we want to find the population in the town after 5 years. So what would we do to find the population?
Yeah, that's right.
5 is going to go in place of your x. So in your equation, the y equals 380x plus 6200. We take 380 times 5 plus 6200. Because your x in this situation is talking about the number of people, and then x is talking about the number of years, and then the y is talking about the population. So when you have an x and a y value, that x value is always independent, and the y value is going to be dependent on the x. So the time is independent, and then the people are dependent upon the time. So we just plug that in, use a calculator. And we get 8,100. And then that would be 8,100 people. So just make sure you put your variable there. I want to make sure you do that for your quiz. I will take off partial points if you don't do that. So that's why I'm emphasizing it. So how long will it take for the population to reach 11,140 people? So what would we do there? Yeah, so that's our y. So 11,140 equals 380x plus 6,200. And so how do we solve that? Subtract 6,200. And then what do we do next? Divide by 380. And so then that would be 13, and that 13 represents 13 what? What do you think that 13, what do you think the units are in that 13? Years. 13 years. Years. Yep. Okay, on to the next one. Madison is a college student who plans to spend some time this summer in Seattle. She has saved $3,500 for her trip and anticipates spending $400 each week on rent, food, and activities. Create an equation that models this situation. So be careful on this one. What would the equation be on this one? So get a hand, please.
Negative 400?
Yes, sir.
Negative 400?
So it's a negative 400. Why is it a negative 400? Spending the money. Good. So it's a negative 400x. And then because that's spending money each week. So there's two different things, pieces of information there. And then what is our y-intercept? So if we were to describe that slope for negative 400, is that an increase of 400 each week or a decrease? Decrease. So that negative is a decrease. That's right. So last question: if she spends $400 per week, how long will it take her to have $300 left in her savings? So what would we do here? What would we do with the 300? Where would it go? In the y. So that's the money. The amount of money is in your y. And set it equal to negative 400x plus 3,500. Questions on how we set it up that way? I think that's probably the hardest part of it. And so now to solve it, Subtract 3,500. What next? Divide by negative 400. And we get 8. And that's 8 what? 8 weeks.